Hello, adventurers! My name is Chance. Welcome to my spellbook, and thank you for tuning into the 12th episode of our background series. We are really flying through them. There's about 55, so I suppose you could call us crossing the 20% mark. In any case, let's talk about the Courtier. This is one of those backgrounds that is found in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. So, as with a couple of the other ones we've already done, the Sword Coast Adventures Guide has added in quite a few of them. And if you'd like to catch up on all the previous episodes, or even check out the future ones, please do check out the playlist at the end of this video, or up in the little icon in the top corner there. It is, of course, much appreciated. Now let's dive into the Courtier's description here. In your early days, you were a personage of some significance in a noble court or a bureaucratic organization. You might or might not come from an upper-class family. Your talents, rather than circumstances of your birth, could have secured you this position. So what that's essentially saying is you served in some sense of nobility or in a fairly cushy government role, as it were. You could just come from an upper class and just get the job through lineage, or it could be for some other reasons, either your skill or maybe through some other merit. Or blind luck, who knows, it depends. You might have applied for the job and just aced the interview and kind of just make everything up as you go along. Now let's talk about its mechanics. Under skill proficiencies, you gain access to insight and persuasion, which are super useful skills, so I certainly think that's quite nice. Under languages, you get 2 of your choice, and its equipment is fairly lackluster. You gain a set of fine clothes and a pouch containing just 5 GP, which actually make it below the average of 10. It really is interesting. I don't know why they get less gold. Its skill proficiencies are quite nice. The languages of your choice is quite nice. However, its equipment is kind of meh. I might include some form of a signet ring for who you represent or some other documentation surrounding that. But in terms of by raw, that's all you get. Sorry to say, buddy. Now let's take a look at its feature here, Court Functionary. Your knowledge of how bureaucracies function lets you gain access to the records and inner workings of any noble court or government you encounter. You know who are the movers and shakers, whom to go to for favors to seek, and what current intrigues of interest in the group are. Very interesting stuff. Naturally, this is one of those features that is only really useful in certain areas, in this case, namely cities and more specifically capitals. This isn't going to help you out in the wilderness at all. At least it really shouldn't. You can make an argument for maybe the smaller power structures of tribes qualifying for this, but for the most part, you're going to gain a pretty significant advantage only in major cities with complicated bureaucracies. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Likely a lot of members of your group are going to have blind spots in that area, so you'll certainly be in a position to guide them through the inner workings and make sure they brush elbows with the right people at the right times. Very interesting. Now let's take a look at their suggested characteristics. For personality trait, I went with, I always want to know how things work and what makes people tick. Under ideals, I went with freedom. Everyone should be free to pursue his or her own livelihood, and that will take you towards the chaotic direction. Under bond, I pursue wealth to secure someone's love. And under flaw, I'll do anything to get my hands on something rare or priceless. Now this is a good example of a flaw and a bond being connected in a way by which makes them not so direct and clear-cut. Stealing is wrong, but wanting to pursue the interest of someone you love is inherently and quite arguably a good thing. Naturally, the DM can feel free to spin this in whatever twisted and diabolical ways that they are likely to, but from the player's eyes, theft might very well be justified despite having a good alignment. And under the personality trait, I think this works really well with their feature and with the proficiency and insight as well. Very good stuff, and lends itself to potentially some interesting roleplay opportunities, maybe asking too many questions to the wrong person, or maybe even making too many assumptions about people. But it's quite cool nonetheless, and should be quite fun to play. Now let's move on to my personal thoughts on the Courtier. Overall, I think it's a really strong choice, although its usefulness, in particularly its feature, is based on a campaign by campaign or even a quest by quest basis. However, I think it's a little bit unreasonable to find features that are always good 100% of the time, and seeing is how this is really concentrated and super beneficial in those circumstances, I'm likely to not want to tweak this one all that much. However, it's going to be worth discussing with your DM, because if you're going to be running a purely wilderness-based campaign on the new frontier or something of that nature, it might be a little bit difficult to get any real mileage out of this. So just do bear that in mind and do not shy away from those conversations. Now, let me know what you think about Courtier down beneath in the comments section. Be sure to mention any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns you have regarding it. And if you'd like to get your hands on a free one-shot, please do check out the Guild Hall and use code WELCOME at checkout to get a free one-shot. They're only $1 each, but you know what? Feel free to get one on me and let me know what you think of it. And with all that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy adventuring, everyone.